Okay, folks, I'm back. It's been a long trip up to Maryland and DC. I was not hoping to talk about this, but was supposed to go up to Maryland and DC to spend time with family and friends, but it happened that right before my trip up there, my dad passed. Hence the long delay. It was expected, but it just came soon. My dad had dementia, Lewy body dementia, and he had been suffering, and he actually broke his hip and never really recovered. Our rest in peace dad, Michael Wayne Clayball, born 1952 on August 18th and passed in his sleep on March 4th, 2026. Actually, the only day that it actually tells you to do something. With all that being said, I wanted to really try to get back into the rhythm of things. And this is one of the things I like to do. I've liked recording and talking about Bayern. Bayern's one of my passions, and this I feel is a good way to get back to it. Since my last video, Bayern's played 3 times. The first was a 4-1 win at home against Borussia Mönchengladbach. Then a 6-1 road win over Atalanta in the Champions League, and then a 1-1 draw at the Bayern Munich against Leverkusen. Now, the first game against Gladbach, it started actually the run of, I like to call it the no Harry Kane games, as he wasn't even on the bench against Borussia Mönchengladbach, but Borussia Mönchengladbach really isn't doing that well this season. But they actually did have a good game, Bayern, even without Harry Kane, because Luis Diaz scored a goal and assisted. Musiala got his first goal of the season, and actually Nicholas Jackson did score in the end from Leonard Carl, getting him across to him, though he did miss some goal attempts. The second game was played in the Champions League, like I said, against Atalanta, where it was really just one-sided traffic, one-way traffic, with Bayern putting 6 against the team from Bergamo. It actually saw 5 different players score. Stanisic, he got his first goal in the Champions League this season. Elise scored 2. Musiala, Jackson, and Gnabry all got on the score sheet. However, the issue with that game saw 3 players, Alphonso Davies, Jamal Musiala, and Jonas Orbeg, all getting injured. Alphonso Davies was the first to get injured. He came in as a sub, then had to be taken off. And with him getting injured, he'll be out for, I think, until after the break. And that's not even talking about how against Gladbach, you had Manuel Neuer getting injured and hasn't played since. Musiala, he just felt something in his ankle again, and Jonas Orbeg got injured on the last play where he allowed a goal, but he got a concussion in the process. So they didn't play in the game against Leverkusen, and Harry Kane still didn't play. Did end in a 1-1 draw at the Bayern Munich, and saw both Luis Diaz and Nicholas Jackson both getting reds. However, Nicholas Jackson got a straight red from a tackle very similar to the tackle Nico Schlotterbeck did on Stanisic, which he only got a yellow. And then Luis Diaz getting a double yellow, though his second yellow, the ref did say, should not have counted, as it was not a dive since there was contact. But at the time, he said there was it was a dive. And the other, to add insult to injury, was there was 2 goals that should have counted of Bayern's because they were chalked off because of handballs, where the hands were in a natural position, but it did hit them. But like you said, like they always say, unless it's in an unnatural position, it should count. But it seems as though the refs were on Leverkusen's side during this game. But we will have a 9-point lead going into the next game. But we will be without Nicholas Jackson and Luis Diaz, as they will both be injured. And the game also saw Sven Ulreich, who started because Jonas Erbig was injured, saw him play for the first time since I think November of 2024, and he got injured in the game and will be out. So unless Jonas is healthy, he will not be playing against Atalanta, which will see the 16-year-old Leonard Prescott, the 4th string goalkeeper, play, which will be very interesting. Even though we have a 6-1 lead, we'll see how he does. It'll be his first game for the senior squad. So now I know that was a lot from one video to talk about all that, but I wanted to get back into the swing of things. And like I said, this is a good way for me to get back into a rhythm. I will be making another video after the return leg at the Allianz Arena as Bayern take on Atalanta in the Champions League. And with all that being said, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, remember, your needs are the point. And before I go, just wanted to say that if you haven't talked to your family, parents, sister, brother, reach out to them. I know after losing my dad, I would like to have another conversation with him. But it is always important that you have a good relationship with family, because you never know when it may be your last. But yeah, definitely reach out if you haven't talked in a bit. Love you, Daddy. I'll miss you. And yeah, all right. Well, anyways, truce, everyone.